Hello book lovers! This is my March wrap-up video, so that means I'm going to talk about all the books that I read in March. So let's start! March was extremely good reading month for me, and I never expected to read so many books. I don't even know what to say because the number is enormous, and I had such an inspiration for reading this month, and I read many great books this month, and some of them were good, some of them were not so good, and the number is really huge. So I read 13 books this month, but that's partly because I don't have as many things to do for my university this month, because I'm preparing for my exams, and when I'm not studying for them, then I just like to sit down and read, and I've been reading a lot during the night time, so I haven't been sleeping so well, but I've read a lot of books, and that is a great thumbs up for me. It seems so long ago, but the first book that I read in this month was The Unbecoming of Dyer by Michelle Hodking, and after that I read the second book, and that is The Evolution of Dyer, and I really liked both of these books. I talked about them in my March TBR video, but I would also like to tell you something about them in my March wrap-up video. The first book is The Unbecoming of Dyer, and it is about a girl named Dyer who was in an accident. So after waking up in hospital, she found out that she can't remember anything that happened during that accident. So the whole book is about her trying to figure out and trying to remember what exactly happened. And I like this book, I enjoyed it, and it was really somehow like a guilty pleasure, because there are a lot of maybe cliche things in this book and things that we've all already seen somewhere else, but this book was really a fun read, and there are a lot of interesting characters and everything. But the only thing that I thought about that could make this book better if there weren't so much high school drama and everything, but that all got better in second book, because the second book isn't about as much high school as the first one was, so I loved second book even more than the first one. Before I started reading these books, I knew that there were a lot of things in these books that you can't really tell if they're true or they're just Mara's imagination, and knowing that before I started reading it, I always somehow waited for the stuff to happen and all that confusion to start and everything, but I knew when it was real and when it wasn't, so that wasn't as confusing as I hoped that it would be, but I still like those books and you should read them if you want. The third book was Everneath by Brody Ashton, and I really expected more from this book. It was really hard to finish it, and I really didn't like it as much as I thought I would like it, and I don't know what else to say. I don't have any main reason why I didn't like it. I just didn't like the story itself, and I didn't like how it unfolded and everything that happened and the characters and everything. I just didn't see the point of it. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but I think that it would be much better if certain things happened some other way. But this story is a retelling, you could say that it is a retelling of a Greek myth of Hades and Persephone, and I didn't like this book. I'm not sure how many stars I gave it on Goodreads, but I didn't enjoy it, and I really thought that I would. So that is the main reason why I haven't read the second and the third book, and I have them on my Kindle, so I'll probably read them someday, but that won't be soon. So after that I read World After by Susan E., and what a great book. After Everneath, and that book I really didn't like, World After was such an enjoyment, because it was really great. It had dark humor in it, it was dark, and it is post-apocalyptic world with angels in it, and that is a sequel to Angel Fall, and it was really a wonderful sequel, and I couldn't be happier with it than I am now, and I think that you should definitely check out Angel Fall and World After, because those books are so amazing and you won't regret it, I promise. I also made a kind of book talk review recommendation and stuff about these books, so I'm going to leave a link below. Then after that I read 8th Grade's Bites by Heather Brewer, and that is the first book in her Vladimir Todd Chronicles, and I really like this book, and I read it in one sitting, in one day. I needed only a few hours to read it because it is short, and I liked it. But I am sure, and after reading a lot of reviews, I'm sure that a lot of things will happen in the other books. I liked it, but not too much, and I will read the other books, but I didn't really feel like reading them at the moment, so I left that for some other time to read the other books, and I'm sure that I will love them. And then I found out about Chicagoland Vampires, and that series, I have no words. I don't know what to say about this series. It's amazing. I didn't sleep that well. I didn't sleep at all. I just wanted to read them, and I just wanted to finish them because they're amazing. They just make you want to flip all those pages and to find out what would happen next, and it's not normal. Not sleeping at night, it's not normal at all, because then you wake up and then you have to study for your exams, and then you're exhausted and you still want to read. So don't start reading these books if you have some exams going on, because you won't sleep, you won't study. The only thing that you want to do is read those books. So keep them for some vacation or something, for summer or something like that, because you should read those books then. If you don't know yet, I'm a huge vampire books fan, and I really love a good vampire book. These books are about vampires, and they're urban fantasy, and I really didn't expect much, because I like urban fantasy, but there are not so many urban fantasy series that I really loved. Characters in these books, they're amazing. These books are about Merit, Merit is the main female protagonist. She's turned into a vampire without her wanting. What I really loved about these books is that Merit, so the main heroine, is very likable. She's that kind of kick-ass heroine that you really want to read about. She's also witty. When she doesn't know something and when she doesn't know how to control her abilities, she wants to learn, and you never see her giving up, and that's what I really loved about her, and it was really fun reading about her, and she was such a great character. And main lead, called Ethan Sullivan, my new bookish crush, he's the main lead in these books, and he's the arrogant kind, typical alpha male. He was really great character to read about, so I really loved that. And the chemistry between the two and their relationship and how it slowly progressed and how we could see their little problems and everything. I really loved that part of the story. The other characters, they're not like the characters in other books, because they're all layered and we can see how they have their own personalities, and it is almost like you know each and every one of them in your own life. So like they're not fictional, like they're real. That is what I really loved about this story. There are 9 books in this series, and I'm not sure how many there are going to be. The series has its ups and downs, because I really loved the first 3 books and I gave them 5 stars on my Goodreads account, but then 4th and 5th book were not so good, and I think that I gave them about 3 stars or something like that. And then 6th book was fine, I gave it 4 stars, and 7th, 8th and 9th book were great and 5 stars for them. So as you can see, there are ups and downs, but series as a whole is really great, and you should definitely check it out. They're just better than the average urban fantasy books. I guess that they are. If you like vampires and if you like urban fantasy, then you'll definitely like those books, and that would be my recommendation. And I also wanted to tell you that maybe the writing style won't suit all of you, because especially in the first three books it is a kind of like a diary. So Merit always talks about things that she does, like I woke up, then I went to take a shower, then I dressed up and everything. But I really didn't mind that, because this is that kind of book and the writing style is just appropriate for this kind of book, and that's why I didn't mind that. It wouldn't be so good if I read that kind of writing in some epic fantasy. And the other problem I had with these books is that as the series progressed, it started to become too supernatural, and it was really hard to follow all these creatures and everything that shown up in these books. But I really didn't mind, and after some time reading it I got used to it, so that was also fine. At first it annoyed me, and then it was great and I loved it. So overall I would give the series, as a whole series, I would give it 4.5 stars, because they were really great. It had ups and downs, as I already said, but I really loved it, and I don't know what else to say. Those are the books that I read in March, and I really loved them. And the only book in paperback that I read was The World After by Susan E. And I forgot to show you, but here it is. All the other books I read on my Kindle. So for the next month I would really like to read more physical books, and I haven't decided what books that will be yet. But when I decide, I will make my April TBR video, and I'll see you then. So goodbye.